to be and remain a profitable trader, there's certain prices you have to pay, and these prices aren't right in front of you. I'll touch on three of them today, and hopefully I open your eyes a bit and be a bit insightful for you. So uncertainty and our need and our ability to deal with uncertainty is key. That's one price we have to pay. So we have to be comfortable on uncertainty. We have to be comfortable having certain lifestyle change and altering certain things in our life to help our decision making. And we have to also be comfortable with social isolation. Not saying we can't socialize at all, but there's certain social sacrifices that we need to make in order to keep and remain profitable traders. So I'll touch on uncertainty first. And the market is complete random, so we cannot 100% predict our income on a month-to-month basis. So it's not like a job where we show up, and once we show up, we know for guaranteed that we're going to get this price. We're going to get paid a certain amount. We can show up and not get paid at all, or even lose money. So randomness. There's a sequence of wins and losses, and this is unknown to us. We cannot predict beforehand when our winners and when our losses will come into fruition. What we have to do is show up on a consistent basis, and whatever the outcome is on the individual day is what we have to just be happy with. And if we show up and we take a loss for that day, we have to be satisfied with that. If we show up and we take a win for that day, we have to also be satisfied with that. But I understand it's not about it's not about thinking on a day-to-day basis, but it's about thinking on a larger sample size. And this kind of goes into my next point. So we need to have discipline without guarantees. So we need to show up consistently each day that we do trade and execute each position. And each position has independent risk. So we need to be constantly be taking risk in uncertain conditions. And that's not a lot of people. That's not one thing that a lot of people have really come into terms with. So this is what we need to do. We need to show up and execute in a market that is uncertain, and that's what we need to become comfortable with. And we have a lack of control of outcomes in the short term, and in the short term we have a lack of control because we don't have, again, control of which outcome, which trade is a winner and which trade is a loss. So the best looking trades can lose, and the not so good looking trades can win. So I say short term because on a long term horizon, if we continue to execute on our edge that has a positive EV, then over the larger sample size of a larger horizon, we will end up on top. We end up with profits. Going on to lifestyle change. So we may have come into trading with a certain lifestyle, or we might currently just be trading now and we have a certain lifestyle which we're completely keeping up, but it's not in line with how a consistent trader will need to live their life, essentially. So we need to move from being overstimulated all the time to a less stimulating environment and lifestyle, so our decision making is better and more sharper consistently. So we need to move towards being more protective of our energy and mental bandwidth, because our decision making on a daily basis is very important. And if we're doing things that's altering our mind frame consistently, like partying, like drinking alcohol, like doing all these things, which is not bad, there's nothing bad about it. You can live your life, you can do whatever you want, but if you're to continually doing this, then this is going to affect your decision making and your judgment. And this can kind of go into the second point again. So we need to be more routine based. We need to put habits in place that we follow consistently and religiously, so our execution is more consistent over that long-term horizon. So this can be forecasting in the morning, forecasting in the evening, journaling consistently, tracking, doing your daily report card where you look at how you perform for the day, doing these specific habits over a long time, which is going to keep you in the right mind frame as a trader. We're not going to be perfect, but we're aiming to be at our best. Mindful consumption. So we need to be mindful of what we're consuming. We need to consume less things that's going to cloud our judgment and impede our decision, or impede good decision making, because we want to be good decision makers on a daily basis. And good decision making on a daily basis is essentially moving in line with a plan as consistently as we can. So if our lifestyle that we currently have is not a lifestyle which is essentially congruent with the person you need to be a consistent trader, then you kind of need to make certain alterations that will improve the chances of you being that consistent trader. Going on to social isolation. So again, we don't need to completely we shouldn't isolate ourselves completely. We can still socialize and stuff like that. But we'll be thinking in probabilities, and we will be thinking completely different to a lot of people in the world. And as traders, we need to be independent thinking, and this is regardless of if you're in a trading group, if you've got a mentor. You need to move to a stage of where you can execute on your own plan, on your own understanding, without any external noise. So even if you are in a trading group and you are getting support from others and stuff like that, at the end of the day, you need to be able to make your own decisions, and anything externally that's not helping you become that independent thinker, you need to kind of reduce and move away from, because long term you don't want to be. So what happens if the people that's giving you certain direction is not there anymore? You're going to be lost. Whereas if you become an independent thinker, you can then make decisions on your own whenever and wherever, and that's the state that you want to be in. Going on to the next point of reviewing. So this is not something that you do with a lot of people. This is something that you look at and you track by yourself. So you take trades, you log those trades, you look at how you was thinking at that time, how you executed on the trade, how you then got out of the trade. Was it all in line with your plan? You can then spot then commonalities over a larger sample size. You can see what works, you can see what doesn't work, you can then remove what doesn't work, you can keep what works. This is all something that you do by yourself. This is not something that you do in a pack. You need to be comfortable being alone and going through these certain things to then improve and keep your trading at a certain level. This is social isolation, essentially. Going on to a lack of understanding. A lot of people are not going to look at what you do and understand it like how you understand it. People look at what you're doing as gambling. It is gambling if you don't have structure around what you're doing. So if you're not routine based, you don't have a plan, you don't have an edge, you're just going in blindly day by day and just going off gut instinct. However, once you do have a system and you can learn to now follow that system over and over again, you will still have issues. Actually, you'll still have issues, and dealing with those issues, you're dealing with those issues by yourself. Let's say you've just started this, it's been a couple months in, you got a strategy there that you think you want to work with, and you then execute on that, and you tell people around you you're just losing money. They're like, why the flip are you still doing this? Like, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. You need to think for yourself and understand. A lot of people are not gonna understand what you're doing, and you just need to do it for you and think about the long-term vision of what you're actually doing and not think about now. So social isolation is something that you need to become comfortable with. having a different lifestyle is something that you need to do, and you need to be comfortable living that certain lifestyle. Uncertainty is something that you're gonna have to be comfortable with, because the markets is completely random and you can't control anything on a short-term basis. Yeah, that's it.